Hello again, guys. It's Carly from the Poetry of Nice, and I have a sales update video for you. It's not exactly like I usually do, where it's just like the week that has just gone, because it's been a few weeks since I've done this. So I've just kind of done a roundup of Etsy, eBay, and Poshmark. Those are the three platforms that I sell on if you're new here. And I'm just going to show you kind of a cross-section, if you will, of items that have sold for me in the last sort of 2 to 3 weeks or so. So let's just get stuck in. I'm going to start with Etsy. I only have 3 things that I pulled up for Etsy. I had a few more sales than that, but not many, and nothing that was super interesting. So this is what I'm going to show you. This one, Vols, Tennessee Vols sweatshirt. I talk about this a lot on my channel. I love to sell the vintage collegiate wear. I happen to live where Tennessee Vols stuff is plentiful, but wherever you live, or wherever your nearest college team is, keep your eye out, because that kind of stuff does really well, especially come fall. So this item I picked up at a yard sale, and my average cost of goods per item, like for the year overall, tends to be $1 per piece. It's just how it works out for me. And so please just think of these items each as though I paid $1 for them at like a yard sale or a rummage sale or something along those lines. So we're calling it $1, and this sold for $39.95 with the buyer paying shipping as well. Next item, as my computer thinks, there we go. So I've had these for a long time in my store, probably at least 2 years. They're just a really cute little pair of baby moccasins. They were still in their box. They were from the 1950s. They have just stuck around for ages. I got them from an estate sale, and I grabbed them simply because I thought they were cool, and I love that vintage, like the advertising and the packaging, things like that. I just think it's really neat. Anyway, they sold for $14.95 and went off as a gift for somebody, so hopefully they love them. And $14.95 for being in my store for 2 years isn't fantastic, but I'm glad that they found a good home. Next item is a brand that I'm aware of only from when I lived in England, like a high street brand, Laura Ashley. Anyway, I found this and I grabbed it purely based on style. I loved that it had that very like folksy, like it was almost like a crewel embroidery. Let me see if I can get close up for you, just where it was like really, really thick, and it was really, really cool cardigan. And yeah, so again, we're thinking like $1 for this, and this actually sold for $49.95 plus the shipping. So again, this was in my store for a good few months. The season's just now kind of rolling around for it anyway, but it definitely also needed the right buyer. So pretty good sale there. All right, on to Poshmark. So first item I'm going to show you is this Prana. I'm going to go ahead and show you the label, because I know that's super useful for people when you're looking for brands and things when you're out thrifting. So this is like the newer one. This is what it looks like. Size medium, just a sort of mock turtleneck. Oh, really it was a turtleneck, but just, nothing extravagant. And it sold for $26, as you see here. Next item, Fabletics. These were from a yard sale. And they had a style number, I think, which is how I was able to find the name, the Seamless Solid Leggings, and then the color was evergreen. And these sold for $18, and these were probably listed for about 2 months as well. Theory, this is a great brand to pick up. I find it's definitely kind of higher end in terms of it retails for quite a lot. These were this skirt, I should say, sorry, silk skirt was size 0. It had the name and all that good stuff, style number, there we go. So I gave a bit more information when I was listing it. It was really, really pretty, but it was that smaller size, and so it's hung out in my closet for quite a while. It was listed for, I think, $40, and I ended up taking a best offer of $25, and this was actually something that I bought in a thread up box. It was not a rescue box. It was just like a clearance shop that I did on ThredUp, basically. Yeah, so I got that at obviously a very discounted price, and then flipped it for $25. All right, Katherines. This was from a yard sale. I wasn't super familiar with Katherines. I knew it was a plus size line, and I picked just some of the pieces I felt like were on trend at the yard sale. And this was one of them. So like a ribbed sort of almost sweatshirt with like a crossover tie detail at the shoulder, and then it was like a plaid trim at the bottom. $20 is what they sold for. Vintage Levi's yellow tab high-rise tapered mom jeans. What a mouthful. When I say yellow tab, this is what I'm showing you, like right here. That I think they usually are from sort of 70s, 80s with the yellow tab. I am not a denim expert. Do not quote me. Do your research. But it's a good sign that they're vintage, especially coupled with made in USA. That high rise being usually 10 inches rise and above, and then they're also tapered leg, very sort of like retro vintagey style. Anyway, they sold for $38, and that was a best offer as well, I think. And there's actually another pair I think coming up later as well. Those tend to do pretty well for me. Ann Taylor, again, just showing you lots of different items. Some are bread and butter, some are good sale, you know, like higher price sales, all kinds of different stuff going on. So Ann Taylor, color block, a dress with a shrug, great piece of career wear, sold for a best offer of $24. Just nice standard sale there. And that was not listed for too long, maybe like 5 weeks. This was a new to me brand. Komarov, where's the label? And I'll go ahead and show it to you. She says, there it is. I got this at a rummage sale. I grabbed it because of the, I don't know, it was made in the USA. It was a cool style that has this kind of like tacked on detail on the tag, although I do see machine stitching there as well. But just a few things that made me think that maybe it was slightly higher end. Turns out it was. It's actually quite an expensive piece overall. The comps were kind of here and there. I listed for $35. Someone offered me $25. It's been listed for about a month, so I went ahead and took that. Not bad at all. Fresh Produce, this is a brand that I love to pick up. It's very much like a beachy kind of coastal vibe usually. I find that these kind of pieces where they have the prints do a lot better than the solids, and especially the very kind of like summery light prints and the dresses and things like that did quite well for me. But again, $19 for this long sleeve top. And Blue by Beatty. Pull up the label. Here we go. I have a swimsuit by him, them, whatever, in my closet right now. It's had loads of attention. No one has bought it yet. And then this was obviously like an ombre style beach cover up. It was listed for $25, which was right in line with the comps. I sent out an offer of $20 and someone accepted it. Bearing in mind, when you send out offers on Poshmark, you also have to give a shipping discount of, oh my gosh, why can't I remember? It's like $1.80 or something like that. And gosh, you can tell it's been a while since I made a video. Anyway, so just bear in mind you have to give that shipping discount as well, and that's going to come out of your profits. Just something to remember. Sorel, so these boots are actually some of the like least wanted, sought after, if you will, Sorel boots, usually like the ones that are leather or are more kind of like your browns and your greys, like more contemporary style, do a lot better. These freestyle, very like retro looking color block snow boots, they almost have that like duck hunting boot look with the plastic around here and then the fabric upper. They just weren't as popular. Anyway, they finally sold for $40, which actually was a great price to get for them, but I did have to wait quite a long time, probably a good 9 to 10 months for that. Cole Haan Country. This was new to me. I've sold plenty of Cole Haan, but I had not seen the ones with like the little country word. I didn't know if that made a difference or not. I priced them accordingly to other woven leather like loafers and things by Cole Haan that I have sold, and they sold right at the same kind of price point, that $35. So it's pretty standard for me with these loafers. This was a pretty good sale. I grabbed it simply because it was vintage. This was from a filler bag situation at a rummage sale. It was vintage Tampa Bay Devil Rays, 1998 Major League Baseball button-up shirt. When it comes to dating these kind of things, like when they're sporting teams and stuff, you can, I think it's sportslogohistory.com, but you can just go ahead and Google sports logo history. And you'll find some resources there where they will break down like all of the different logos and things like that from different eras, and they'll give you sort of time frames, if you will, and that will help you date your piece. So I was very confident in knowing this was a 90s piece from the logo, but also it had 1998 inaugural on there as well, so I was able to reference the date from that. But if I didn't have that particular information, I would have used sports logo history in order to narrow it down and be able to list it correctly. So $55 is what that sold for. This, I don't know why this is blurry. Hopefully it wasn't like that all the time. Anyway, Harley Davidson. I found these shoes at a outside yard sale. They were the Freeway Oxford biker shoes, and they had a style number inside, which is how I knew that. I grabbed them because leather Harley shoes, especially ones with this kind of like 90s, almost Doc Marten type look to them, do very well. They sold in a day and a half for $30. And they actually had a smoke smell. They had a fairly significant smoke smell, even though they had been outside and I'd done everything I could with them. And I disclosed that in my listing, and I got a 5-star review. The person was very happy, but it was unfortunate that it had that, but they still sold really quickly despite it. So I figured I would share that. Vintage tall red suede leather boho boots. So these were just cool. I grabbed them just because I kind of thought they were awesome. They were like a corduroy leather and then like a sort of, you know, smoother leather over here. This is what the tag looked like. This is not a brand I have any idea about. They were a narrow size. That's what that 9N means. It means narrow. So I did go ahead and put like the ball of the foot outsole width, and then I always do the calf width as well, and the boot. Well, usually I do the shaft height as well. I guess I didn't do that this time. But those are the measurements I usually include with boots just to help my buyers. And they sold for $50, and the person was very happy. So I'm glad about that. Just thought they were cool. Super, you know, 70s vibe. Again, this is another item I grabbed purely because I like the style of it. Vintage 90s Gap, very like bright kind of rainbow plaid, like wide plaid. And this sold in less than a week for $20. This is how I usually style my button-down shirts, especially if I'm going towards that female audience. This may have been a men's shirt. I'm not into... Oh, yeah, I think I even put down here, technically a men's shirt, but can be worn, knotted, rolled, as styled, as shown in photos. I just think that I'm more likely to sell, particularly on Poshmark, to a female buyer, statistically on Poshmark, with some of these vintage items. Now, that's me simply making a call. I'm gambling doing that. By all means, a man could come along and be like, I love that vintage shirt, but I just choose to list some of these items that way. Personal preference, just figured I would share. Vintage 80s rainbow sequin sweater. This thing is just cool. It speaks for itself. Shoulder pads, the whole shebang, $30. This is one of those items, so I listed this way higher than it should have been. BB Dakota, I'll show you that label. Not a particularly high-end brand, but I really like this top and kind of wanted to wear it out on a date night. And so I listed it ridiculously high, and someone bought it full price. So you can't complain. It sold for $35, which is a lot more than I would have expected to get for that brand and that particular top. But I loved it, and I wanted to shoot high, and someone scooped it up. So good for them. I hope they love it. I hope they enjoy it. It's worth it for the $35. And the last Poshmark item I'm going to show you is this Talbot's Equestrian Bridal Bit Corduroy blazer. This is the sort of equestrian detail that I'm referencing here on the pockets. I wanted to show you guys this. It's all for $25 because this kind of equestrian themed clothing, I get quite a bit in like Lauren Ralph Lauren or Talbot's, just with these little equestrian details. That keyword equestrian always does so well for me, and those kind of details always just have these items moving so quickly for me. So just keep your eyes peeled for like equestrian style prints or, you know, details and things like that on items, just in case. Okay, and on to eBay. A few items from the last 2 to 3 weeks as well. So this Postmark by Anthropology Postmark looks like this. There we go, size large. Picked this up at a yard sale. It was listed for just a couple of days before it sold for full asking price of $19.99. Next is this. This was a new one for me, Tennessee Vols Baseball. I sell lots of Tennessee Vols, like the football team, vintage sweatshirts and stuff, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, but baseball is a new one for me. Anyway, someone came along. I had it up for $35. They offered me $25, and honestly, it didn't have much action, you know, in the first few days of it being listed, and I decided to just go ahead and take that nice quick sale since it was a little bit more obscure, and I might have a limited audience, and yeah, $25 is what I took for it, and I'm happy with that. Eddie Bauer, a goose down quilted vest jacket. This is kind of stuff I sell almost every day as we go through this kind of season, so I figured I would show it to you. I took a best offer of $18 for that. Really good fall and winter bread and butter. Lane Bryant, black and grey snake print pin tuck blouse. It's plus size, 26-28. Sold for its full asking price of $19.99, plus the shipping as well. I barely ever do free shipping. If I do, I'll tell you in the video, but buy paid shipping in this occasion. And I'm surprised it sold for that, if I'm being really, really honest. Usually my Lane Bryant sells close to like the 14 to 15 range. Someone just came along and sort of bought this without making an offer. And that's fine by me, but I just want to let you know that $19.99 is pretty high up on the Lane Bryant end in my experience. Brooks Brothers, this was a woman's pant, 100% wool lined with this houndstooth kind of plaid print. It did have a teeny tiny little hole, but it was only in the top layer. It didn't go through or anything, but I still had to disclose it. And they still sold for a best offer of $32.99 plus shipping, so not bad at all. Brooks Brothers pants, like wool pants, especially women's, do really well for me. Orvis, this is a nice, expensive brand. It really depends on the piece, in my experience, how quickly it sells and what it will sell for. This one I grabbed, it was a men's piece, and it was 100% cashmere, so absolute no-brainer, charcoal grey, and this sold for $40 on a best offer. Next, random story. My husband and I went to Halloween Horror Nights this year, 29, down in Orlando. And while I was down there, I got myself a drinky drink. And it came in a souvenir glass, as you can see here, Ghostbusters, because we were there the first week. It was like a flashing, glowing, you can see the comparison there. Drink cost me, I think, $11, maybe more, maybe $14, something like that. And this sold for best offer of $15 plus shipping. So overall, except for the fees, I basically got me a free drink. I don't really have any interest in keeping the glass. I got myself a souvenir t-shirt. I'm all good. I don't really have anything to do with the glass. But I know some people collect them because they actually released 4 different designs throughout the run of Halloween Horror Nights. And so someone hopefully can complete their collection, and I got my money back from a drink. Because I'm that frugal, apparently. All right. So this I've mentioned before, but I will mention again. This sold for $17. I have kids, and they require things. And one of those things is a pack and play. My current son keeps going through them. He keeps sort of breaking them. We don't have him in it all the time. Obviously, he's 2 at this point, but he sleeps in it in vacation and stuff. Anyway, long story short, I had to buy a brand new one. And what I do every single time, or if I find these things at rummage sales or yard sales, pick up the covers. This is literally the zipper cover that goes over a pack and play for when it travels, which, by the way, you don't actually need. It also wraps up in its mat. So it's something that you definitely could let go of if you were comfortable with that. So this, and also the little like accessories, like maybe if there is a clip-on mesh diaper holder, or maybe there's a mobile that clips on the side. There's lots of different things that can come with pack and plays. Pick them up and sell them. So I bought a pack and play for like $40, and then I sold this for $17, and I have another piece I'll sell for another $15, and then therefore my pack and play only cost me like $10 to $20 overall, which is a lot more reasonable in my opinion, but it's just a good thing to look out for that you may overlook. Definitely the bins, if you go and buy weight and things, these things are so incredibly light. So $17 for that. It's just a vintage 100% silk quilted windbreaker. No particular brand that would matter. Sold for $30 on a best offer. I do like selling these vintage windbreakers. I think it's a lot of fun, and you have to wait for your right buyer, but people do love them. Tommy Hilfiger extra large cream hooded quilted puffer vest. This sold for $18. This was just a yard sale buy. I'd hoped I might do better, but honestly, 18 is about right, I think, looking at comps. Coldwater Creek, size 18, so that was one of my things that had me buy this pair of jeans, because they were a plus size, and also they had a really cool like exposed zipper detail that I thought was kind of awesome. And so these sold for best off, not the best offer, the full asking price. I tell a lie, 20% off. They sold on sale for $19.99 plus shipping. All right, JCrew black puff sleeve sheath dress, 100% wool. Got this at a yard sale for $1, just like I mentioned, but it was size 0 petite, which obviously it sells. There are people out there who are 0 petite, but it can take a little bit longer. Just less people looking essentially for that particular size. But it's still a very nice career piece anyway. So I took best offer of $32, which I was absolutely happy with. Talbot's, this was an interesting piece. It was like a very shiny, sort of wet look, quilted vest jacket, but it was also longer than average, like almost like a tunic length. I don't know. Anyway, it was Talbot's, and it was a size 2X, and I decided to grab it and try it out, and it sold pretty quickly within probably a month to a month and a half of being listed, and it sold for a best offer of $27 plus shipping. Tom's, these boots were so cute. If they had fit me, I would have loved them, but oh well. They didn't. So I paid $5. I say everything's $1, but I'm going to let you know at a yard sale I chose to buy these for $5. It evens out on average to $1, but $5 is what I was willing to pay for these. They were super cute. They had the style name and all that kind of stuff inside to help me price them and list them correctly, and they sold on sale for $47.99. Very random vintage straw woven satchel purse. No particular name, nothing else to it. I just thought it was a cool vintage style, and it sold on sale for $27.99. This is the kind of stuff I find all the time at these little church rummage sales and whatnot, and it really does sell. A lot of it depends on style and like fabric and materials and things, but it really does. LL Bean, I don't know what it was about this particular hat. I could have undersold it. I don't know, but it had lots of action on both Poshmark and eBay. Sold for $18.99 plus the shipping. I think it was an older piece, but it's just kind of like a worn-in denim embroidered hat with these kind of like oars and stuff like that on them. So it did okay. BDG, which is Urban Outfitters, super high-rise short shorts. Right here in October, shorts and things are still selling, and these sold for a best offer of $16.10. I will say they have taken over a year to sell, so I would only pick them up at a very low cost of goods. JCrew, this piece sold for the full asking price of $29.99. When it comes to finding the name and things of JCrew, down in your fabric content tag on the inside of that seam, you will find a style number as well. If you plug that into Google, more often than not, it will tell you the actual name, and you can find reliable comps and things like that as well. So this was the Dolphine Bling Button Cardigan. It was a wool cashmere blend. It was super cute, and yeah, it sold without a best offer. It just sold for $29.99. Thank goodness this finally sold. I've had this for years, at least 2, if not more years. Newer tags, Betsey Johnson. It was like a sort of peplum wiggle style dress, like super retro, super cute. I've retaken photos for this a million times. I did not yet retake the photos with my white mannequin. I don't think I could bring myself to do it one more time. So I just accepted the fact that eventually one day it would sell. And it did for $29.50. Thank goodness. Hopefully it doesn't come back now I've said that. This was a newer piece that I listed only up for about 2 weeks. Guess Jeans Glamour. It was new to me. Very like 70s boho style, with all that faux, it's like faux fur all over, and then like really big puffy faux fur on the neckline, the trim, and the cuffs. Sold for $32. And the last thing I'm going to show you is this Arcteryx, which is a fantastic outdoor brand. If you find anything, clothing, backpacks, whatever, by this brand, grab it. Case in point, this was actually from the same outdoor yard sale that I got the Harley Davidson shoes from I told you about. So this was also saturated with smoke smell. And I mean saturated. It smelled like smoke. And it sold in a day for $109.99 plus the shipping. And it was all disclosed that the smoke smell was there. I already got good feedback from them. They said exactly as described. They even reached out to me and let me know that they just about managed to get the smoke smell out, and they were super happy with it. So there are buyers out there who are comfortable with buying something at a discount with a smoke smell. So if it's a good brand like something like this, please don't be necessarily afraid of it. Make sure you store it away from other items. Don't let that smoke smell like seep into other stuff. But I'm just saying you don't have to necessarily be afraid of it, but do disclose things incredibly clearly to your buyers. Okay, and that's everything I've got to show you today. I just figured I'd give you a little roundup of things that have moved for me recently in case you're wondering what sells in October. Let me know in the comments how your sales are doing. It is good to be back. If you haven't seen my latest haul video, I will link it here as well, so you can check that out. And if you're new here, I would love it if you would hit subscribe. Come hang out some more. I talk all about reselling online, as you can tell, and do all kinds of tips and tricks videos and things like that, as well as hauls and sales. All right, you guys, I will catch you in the next video. If I don't talk to you beforehand, happy Halloween and have a good one. Bye, you guys.